Don't miss that!
Welcome back to Don't Miss That Radiology. I'm Dr. Matthew Hartman from Pittsburgh, PA. If you're listening to this in early July, congratulations. Many of you are starting radiology electives or even audition rotations. Maybe you're a third year exploring the specialty, or maybe you're fourth year hoping to match. Today's episode isn't about interpreting a chest x-ray. It's about something just as important, how to make a great impression on your radiology rotation. I've worked with hundreds of medical students over the years. The good news is you don't have to know everything. In fact, no one expects you to. One of my favorite TV shows is The Pit. For those who don't know, it takes place in Pittsburgh, PA, and is actually filmed at the hospital that I work at least the exterior shots. And is one of my favorite TV shows. I usually don't like medical dramas, but this does a fantastic job. So in season 1, we had Whitaker as a medical student who matches and will be starting his residency. He's an ER physician at the hospital. We get, with every July 1, new interns, but then new med students. So these are their fourth years, Ogilvy and Joy. And let me just say, they don't make the best first impressions. We'll talk more about that. I have a TikTok tie-in with this. I have the QR code at the end. But let's talk about how not to act and then how to act if you want a great evaluation and letter. So realize that medical school doesn't train you to be a radiologist. That's probably a good thing. We need other specialties. The good news for you is that we are not expecting much from you on your first rotation. What I am looking for is a great attitude, punctuality. I come from a military family, so early is on time, late is unacceptable. Professional dress. I always tell the students to be better dressed than me. I do fluoroscopy and some body procedures, so I'm usually in scrubs. So I tell my students scrubs are better if you're with me. If you're on mammo, it might be shirt and tie, it might be scrubs. Always dress better if in doubt. The best thing I can write on your letter is that you are teachable. So again, that comes with attitude, taking feedback well, and being a team player. Show gratitude for any teaching that you're getting. If you get an assignment from your attending, like, hey, look up adenomyomatosis or XGPN, those are 2 assignments I gave my students this past week, which they did, follow up on it. And if I forget to ask you, you can sure bring it into the conversation. Say, hey, Dr. Hartman, I really was fascinated by the XGPN. Does that go with Proteus or something? Something like that. And then I'll say, oh yeah, I forgot to ask you about that. Let's talk about it. And you might be asking yourself, hey, what's XGPN? Well, we have a great TikTok about that. It has the Bearpaw sign. Take a look at that. And then most importantly, always have an extra pen on you. So I write lots of letters of recommendation. Last year I wrote over 30. I use the AMSR standard letter of recommendation. So AMSR is the Alliance of Medical Student Educators in Radiology, for which I'm a member. We have this standard letter. So the letter writer writes their information. They talk about how many students they assess each year. I do approximately 70 each year. And I've been doing this for 15 plus years, so I think I have a lot of experience. I often get great feedback from my colleagues at other institutions that they really appreciate my letters because I'm honest and I will stratify the students. Not everyone gets 100, or else my letter wouldn't mean anything, but I am looking at communication skills, work ethic, intellectual curiosity, funded knowledge. So we will give a standardized shelf exam, the AMSR STAR exam, and most of my students do extremely well on that compared to the national mean. So if that's something I can write about, I also give you the opportunity to put a little free form underneath each one, especially if you give them the highest score. Leadership, that can be hard to show, but if they take a project on, if they're helping the other students, those are things I'm looking for. And then most importantly, working well with a team. And then there is a place for free form. This is where I like to put personal anecdotes. If the student did a great rad path case of the month, if they did a great job with the simulations, sometimes like a fun fact about them, like a hobby. Getting to know them. I really get to know my students quite well over the 4 weeks. I think that's important. If you're rotating somewhere else, you might be with a different attending each day, and it can be hard to get a great letter. So hopefully you can be working with one or two attendings more often than not, and be able to get a letter from him or her. But it's very obvious when you get a letter from someone that knows the person well versus someone who just shadowed you for a couple days. So hopefully this is helpful information. Don't miss that when you're on your radiology rotation. So we got 1,500 questions. Again, question and answers. We have the TikTok tie-ins. I ask tons of questions to the students with me. Heads up, if you're rotating with me, the first question I always ask, what's an X-ray? The second question I ask is, tell me about Hounsfield units. Those are some of the first questions in the book. And we have different sections for mammo, body, MSK, you name it. But there was a very similar book to this when I was a med student. It was called Radiology Recall. And that was one of the inspirations for this book. I loved going home, reading, thinking about these questions. If I didn't know it, reading more about it. And for me, that was a great way to learn radiology. Other resources that I highly recommend, Felson's for how to read a chest x-ray, I think is the best one out there. A ton of online resources. Got to promote our TikTok page. We got a lot of great stuff for med students. We have the intro section where we go over what's an x-ray, what are Hounsfield units, what is windowing, stuff like that. And if you want to see that scene from the pit where Ogilvy and Joy are not acting well, check out our QR code here. So best of luck on rotations. Thanks for listening to the Don't Miss That Radiology podcast. I'm Dr. Matthew Hartman. Remember, you only see what you know. Keep learning and don't miss that.